Oh, yeah, babies. It's a Christmas episode. You know, the jingle bells are in the air, the mistletoe's hanging from your belt buckle. If you're a smart man out there, you know that's what you got going on. And you're listening to the Friday Night Super Show. We got pro wrestler Sam Houston going to be joining us here tonight. If you don't know who he is, you goddamn well should, because, hey, he's done some stuff. I've also got crazy Spent Kent. Well, maybe not so crazy. We'll see how crazy he get tonight. Spent Kent going to be joining us as my special co-host tonight, because the Friday Night Super Show, baby, starts right now.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
The Friday Night Super Show. You damn right. Tag team champs, bitches. The motherfucking Friday Night Super Show. Number one in the world, baby. Hey, enough of the goddamn horse shit. Let's start the show.
Oh, yeah, babies. You know what night it is, and you know what time it is. That's right. The Friday Night Super Show is back here on the air. Contrary to popular belief, we did not die. We are still here. I'm the mouth laughing and scratching, joined by my special co-host for the evening, the one, the only, crazy-ass Spent Kent. How in the hell is you doing tonight, brother?
Ho, 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 Merry Bongheads. Merry Christmas, my brother. I'm doing great. I'm ready to rock. I'm glad about our guest.
No, we do have
rock and roll, my brother.
We do have a very, very interesting guest, man. This guy comes from one of the most storied families in professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, and it's kind of a sad story. It really is. I mean, the guy's gone through a whole bunch, and we're really appreciative that we're going to have Micheal Samuel Smith up here on the show, a.k.a. Sam Houston. If you don't know, kids, he was a member of Team Warrior in the second Survivor Series. I mean, when you're hanging out with the Ultimate, he's wrestled the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I'm telling you, you don't... The 16-time wrestling, the 16-time champion. Being able to perform with these guys, I'd like to get an insight on him. And like was pointed out to me earlier this week, man, with Linda McMahon getting appointed a cabinet position, it might serve a little. He might have a little bit of insight into what type of political realm or political jurisdiction that Linda McMahon will try and extend. What type of business mind she has, because as you know, the government is just a business, kids, and you're all just the cogs in it, man. It's the fun part about what we do. We get to just be, hey, we're the bearer of bad news, the gloom and doom guys. No, not tonight. Not tonight. Not on Rex Manning Day. No, we can't do that today. We mustn't. It's so close to the holidays, kids, and I want to have fun, and I want to be jovial about things, and we sit through a river of feces all year long. We really do. It's like trying to find golden nuggets in a river of poo, Spent Kent. You know what I'm talking about. And when it comes to
I'm actually
dealing with this
trying to keep my spirits up tonight, and with the holidays, doing my best, and I'm not going to be the Grinch. I'm not Spent Grinch. I'm Spent Kent. I'm ready to rock. Food, man.
The Grinch is my job.
No Grinching tonight.
The Grinch is my job, and I'm trying not to Grinch this weekend. I'm going to go see my grandfather tomorrow, and it's probably going to be his last Christmas and all that. So, there's so many great things that you get to look forward to in the holidays. So many great, depressing, horrific, I want to hang myself listening to the NXS in a closet, type moments that you just have to brave on through, man. And tonight, we hope that we can have a good time, to talk some wrestling, so a little bit of politics, a little bit of news, have a few laughs, a couple of beers. Kids, what's the problem, man? Let's just take a few hours to breathe from the crap that we have to inhale each and every day, man. And you got the Mouth and Spent Kent fucking hanging out with you. We're going to have Sam Houston, professional wrestler, here calling us up here in a few minutes, man. And it's going to be quite an interesting interview, kids. I really am. I've been looking forward to this all week, to be quite honest.
Absolutely. Me too. I got tons of questions. I probably won't get to them all, but I definitely want to. I'm interested to hear some of the stories that he's going to be able to tell. And I go back that far to watch him, early in his career. I was, a young teenager, maybe 13, 14, 15, and he was probably barely even 20. He was one of my favorites watching back in the old NWA, WCW days, right before it was WCW. Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA took him under his wing, and heck of a career.
It really was. It's one of the most underrated ones, and it's due to some certain things that happened on later on in his life. His career didn't get as much acknowledgement as I think it should have. When you told me who it was, I was like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Yeah, I remember watching the Sam Houston Danny Davis feud in 1987. I remember these things because I'm an idiot savant. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know why these things are stuck in my brain, but I do. That's a big part of me growing up was professional wrestling. So. To have somebody like Sam Houston joining us on the show on a Friday Night SuperShow, ladies and gentlemen, is a pretty big deal to me. I really don't care if anybody else likes it or not, but it's a big deal to me.
I think it's awesome. I'm hoping he gets on here pretty quick and messages me. He might have the time wrong. I think he might be an hour behind, so we might not hear from him until after 10, if that's the case.
But either way, we can kick off talking a few current event politics, which because there's no shortage of that any week, spent, Ken, ever, and so we can dive in on any topic. Let's kick in, give a big recap on the whole electoral college thing this week, ladies and gentlemen. If you weren't paying attention when I talked on Monday night. Everybody defected from the Hillary camp. Only 2 people have defected from the Trump camp. It became hilarious to me there towards the end. It really did. It just towards the end of the day on the electoral college thing, man. How much more notification does Hillary Clinton need to understand that nobody wants her. Nobody wants this gargoyle beast around. I mean, for Pete's sakes. It's getting pretty obvious when even the rest of your party and everybody that's pledged to talk to you all of a sudden, pledged to vote for you all of a sudden goes, you know what? Nah, sorry. She's too greasy. Way too greasy. That's like voting Sam Lasco for Trailer Park Supervisor. It's just wrong.
Well, I think she had so much baggage too. People gave up on her, and the deep state did. I always said, you can thank the WikiLeaks and Assange and all that, or just for dropping some of that garbage that's just making it so people could even in the mainstream watchers, the mainstream media watchers can say, hey, wait a minute, And I think the powers that be just said, wait, man, she's just too greasy, like you said, and went with maybe what we should call Plan B. That's the way I believe it. We got to wait and see what happens with Trump, but obviously I don't think anything's going to change. At the end of the day, the deep state calls the shots. I mean, So, but maybe it's definitely anything would be better than Hillary because you know exactly what she was going to do. The same old crap, different year, you know?
That's for sure. Jumping to the next subject, man. Ben Swan this week, ladies and gentlemen, came out with quite an interesting report on Aleppo, Syria. For all of you Gary Johnson fans that don't know what that is, all right. And the report pretty much nailed down how the United States has been, and the UN essentially has been trying to supplant Assad in Syria, of course, and the supposed Assyrian rebel fighters somehow morphed into Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and this actually happened under our watch, and there are documents out there to prove it, apparently. And now that's why we won't say what's going on there. What's really happening is that ISIS and Al-Qaeda fighters are the ones that are holding Aleppo, and Assad's forces, the Syrian forces, are trying to push them out. And we're reporting it as though, you know, it's Assad's forces, well, at least our mainstream media is reporting it as Assad's forces are killing everybody. No matter what, women, children, cows, pigs, frogs, the last cockroach, and Keith Richards' final joint. You know, they're trying to kill everything, and according to our mainstream media, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. There are people celebrating in the streets of Aleppo because the Syrian forces are driving these terrorist groups, as they like to call them, back. Your thoughts there?
Well, I actually know a lot about this. I've seen an interview of a lady over there that was doing, you know, basically real reporting. And the terrorists were actually, it is ISIS and Al-Qaeda, you know, and they're the terrorists. They're killing people. And the reason they're rejoicing is because people are going to get to eat again, and they're not going to be killed and raped and everything like that, like they were under. So yeah, they're definitely backing Assad. The United States has it backwards. See, what happens is the U.S. is supporting, you know, ISIS there, in Syria, but over in Iraq, they're fighting ISIS.
And so they say.
Again, this is the industrial military complex. This is all about money and power, and they don't want Assad. He's not playing ball with the bankers and all this other shit. So it gets pretty deep, but that's the whole reason the U.S. is over there. They're trying to, you know, get rid of Assad and eventually get into Iran and take over Iran. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Iran, getting their oil, you know, third largest oil producer that doesn't, one of the few that doesn't sell oil in the petrodollar through our American dollar. They're, you know, they want it all. You know, I mean, we know it's all about oil over there. Otherwise, they wouldn't be over there. It's all about oil, money, power, and so you know, at one time, like in Syria, the U.S. is backing terrorists, but over in Iraq, they're battling them, and it's just one big game to them, one big game of power and money, and that's just where unfortunately, most of our tax dollars go to supporting this bullshit.
No, it's an incredible clusterfuck, you know, and that they keep expecting us to believe their narrative, but yet their narrative keeps falling apart due to truth, because their narrative is based on lies.
Yeah, they tried to blame the rebels for that, the chemical gas or whatever that was used. They tried it twice and it didn't work. It backfired. It kept us from going into Syria like 3 years ago. The people spoke up. I guess it was about 3 summers ago, whenever it was. And, you know, you can still hear John McCain and John Kerry out there still try to play the narrative that it's, you know, it's Assad. And everybody understand, well, it wasn't.
Yeah, John Kerry, Captain Ketchup, for Pete's sakes, this guy.
Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, they both work for the CFR, Council of Foreign Relations. They're part of the, you know, strong arm of the banks. They're the puppets.
Mm-hmm. And it only took 40 years for Captain Ketchup to, turncoat, Hey, I'm against the war. 40 years later, bomb the shit out of Syria. We have to bomb these people because, well, we don't like Assad. He's horrible and killing his own people, and which is a big crock of crap. They just want the oil. They want the pipelines that run through there. They want to be able to have control of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're both war hawks. McCain and Kerry, there's no difference. Just one's got an R at the end of his name, the other's D. They're both paid off by the same people. basically, I think a lot of messing with Syria is trying to draw Iran in too. If we could get an excuse to, we the U.S. government, I should say, can get an excuse to do anything against Iran and take over Iran, well, boom, there's Iran's oil. Well, but all of a sudden, Russia, China, and whoever else has to buy, that oil through the American dollar.
Russia and China will not stand for us taking over Iran. They won't.
Cause World War III, exactly. And people don't know this. They just believe the mainstream media. They never dig this deep into really what's going on. So.
Well, exactly. Yeah. You got to pay attention to what these world players are doing. I mean, as much as we all know it's a scripted scene, you kind of got to pay attention to the script so you know where the story's going, because the story is going to involve you at some point in time. I mean, whether or not you want it to or not, sometimes you just don't get a choice in the matter, because you have a bunch of ass clowns in three-piece Armani suits that just seem to think that they can dictate your future regardless of what you think. And this is one of the biggest sticking points when anybody says we live in a free country. Shut the fuck up. We live in the biggest prison state on the planet. Okay.
Our Constitution guarantees some freedoms that other places
Constitution
don't have.
don't mean crap.
But yeah, in the long run, I mean, again, when you look at what goes on with the politicians, the people that believe that they can vote somebody in office that's going to change the world, the deep state is so corrupt and so powerful. One person's not going to change anything. The corruption is there. I mean, they call the shots. The politicians that are on board, they're paid off. They're at the top positions, including the president himself, obviously. And, they report to the powers that be, that the deep state, that central bankers, that I think is the very top, and, corporations right there from there. So, they don't have our interests, Americans' interest in heart. They have where they get their money from. Again, if you follow the money, connect the dots, it's right there. It's right there. But you have to do research, and you cannot rely on what the mainstream media is telling you, especially Fox News and NBC, because they're both so far to the right or to the left. And CNN, they're all just terrible. It doesn't matter what right or left narrative it is, at the end of the day, they're going to still be reporting the same bullshit, not telling you what you need to know, and that's what the mainstream media does. They bring their pundits in, sway their views, make you think they're give you just some information, or just plain out false information. Sway your way of thinking, either the right or left, divide and conquer. Here you go. This is America today. Divide and conquer between
exactly
parties.
It's
bought by the same damn people.
Well, it's a damn screwy thing that when I started doing this 5 years ago, and a lot of us have started doing it. We're coming out going, hey, the mainstream media is lying to you. They're lying to you up one side and down the other. And here we are 5 years later, and it's really starting to come to pass that these people lie to you all the time. I mean, you cannot turn on your television and turn on any type of mainstream media news and hear, the truth. Unless they're reporting on car accidents and murders that have happened in the city, and sometimes they're not even getting those facts straight. These people aren't telling you the truth. If you don't believe me, watch a weather broadcast. Okay? Because you can't tell me that these people are this dumb. Okay, these mosques have gone and paid $75 and $100,000 for an education in meteorology and still can't get the shit right. Okay, come on, dude. I'm 40 years old and no meteorologist has ever gotten the weather right ever in my life. Come on, you people are seriously slack. Is this like the slacker job that everybody? Maybe I should have been a friggin' meteorologist, Kent. I mean, shit. Where can you go and be wrong all the time and still keep your freaking job?
Well, President, Congress, Senate,
Bing.
There's a lot of them out there. Newscaster.
Give the man 64 silver dollars, kids.
Meteorologist.
No, you're right. You're right. Newscaster, congressman, president. Oh, gee, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to, have classified emails on my own private server. Bullshit. Bullshit! Come on! It's serious. That's like me going, oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to stick my dick in my best friend's wife. Yeah, but shit, It's not my week, slipped on a banana peel, tripped, fell, accidentally stuck my dick in her. Sorry.
No, just getting back a little
Bad
bit,
week. Let me just shuck that off, Yeah, I know that both of your kids died and everything else. No, that's okay. Sorry. Sorry. I didn't know, dude. Didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. Was that wrong? Maybe it's just me, But that excuse doesn't hold up anywhere. It doesn't hold up anywhere in any situation, can't at all. None whatsoever, man.
No.
But that's what we're getting out of our mainstream media and out of these politicians. We're supposed to believe that you people are just, oops, I can make a boneheaded, stupid mistake, and it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. It matters to me. It matters to a lot of people out there. When you're acting like a complete ass and supposed to be in representation of the populace of the United States, gee, maybe you shouldn't be dumb. I mean, come on here, kids. And the Democratic Party, the National Convention, the Clinton campaign, they're blaming everybody but Hillary. It's everybody. She's going to be the first president with her head in a friggin' jar, like Futurama style.
Yeah, they're blaming everybody but Hillary. Again, it's a lot of it's distraction with mainstream media. They're going to distract from what's in the emails and just, let's blame Russia or let's blame this or that, for sending, for doing the right thing, getting them out there, hack, whatever. But, exposing corruption. Let's forget about the corruption in the emails. Let's just get mad about
who sent the email. Who cares what's in the email and how, we swindled our way to this and swindled our way to that and lied and cheated and stolen and pretty much everything that you people hate and deplore that we keep trying to pin on Donald Trump or any other Republican. And, the Russians did it. It was the Russians. The Russians did it. Kent, the Russians did it. Oh! Well, then, you know what, Hillary? I'm sorry. Go on, go home, eat a few more babies, Yeah, and go right ahead. And whatever it is that crazy woman does, it becomes an insult at the end of the day, to one's intellect. That these people are actually going out there and saying these things. And the mainstream media gets on there every morning. I watch these ass clowns every day. And I get on there and look at them in the morning, and they just say it deadpan, like they actually believe it. And it's like, I'm sure if they panned around you with the camera, they would see the wind-up key in your back.
Yeah.
Or either that, there is a string in your hip with a little loop on it that I can pull and make you say things. Like a speaking spell.
They all have their agenda. These paid pundits. The funny thing is, you watch these different shows, either Fox or even MSNBC, they bring in, they kind of do a round table thing, and they bring in their pundits.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have objectives. And half the time, I heard it was Fox was like 70% of what they were saying was completely wrong. They did a poll, and then MSNBC was right behind, and then CNN. And it's just bringing on these pundits that you're supposed to believe are professionals and this, that, and the other, like authorities. Whoever it may be, the Charles Cronhammer, the whatever liberal woman that comes on and just vouches for Hillary. But they all have their agenda. They're all paid to do that. And the funny thing is, I think it was either CNN during the election, they had people on there in those pundits that were actually working for Hillary in one of her foundations or whatever. But they're announcing that she has no ties to Hillary Clinton. I forget the lady's name too, but there was one specific there, and there's a couple more. But it's nothing new. This happens all the time. This is how they sway. And if people don't do their homework, they don't do their research, they're going to be swayed by these people. And they're going to consider this facts, and they're going to be painted that storyline that they want to, they want them to, and they believe it. It's kind of like if you want to talk about wrestling, how easy it is for the bookers to basically, sway the crowd to love or hate whoever. It's the same way of playing a wrestling crowd is how the mainstream media plays the American people crowd. You know what I'm saying?
It is. That's the truth of the matter, and people need to really understand. Hey, it's one thing to get swayed by a wrestling match or a wrestling promoter or a television show. I know some of you out there watch that stupid ass Walking Dead show.
Well, I do, but
it still boggles my mind. And the same thing with that Breaking Bad show. It still boggles my mind. I don't understand why so many people like that crap. But
I never seen it.
Yeah, dude. Not a big celebration of methamphetamine sellers or users. So just something I couldn't get behind. But that notwithstanding, you can be swayed by a television show, even a damn sports game, a football program for that matter. But kids, man, when you start to let these politicians, these political leeches, these the real welfare whores of society, ladies and gentlemen, let's put this out there, okay? It ain't the mama with 5 kids. Sorry. It's these leeches in the 3-piece suits and the pantsuits that are stealing your money each and every day. They're the real welfare whores. You start letting them sway you. But that takes you into a whole new level of being screwed over because they will sway your life, okay? Not just 30 to 60 to 2 hours of your time. You're not going to walk away from a Monday Night Raw going, I need to kill every Jew! That's not going to happen. Sorry. You're not going to walk away from a Cleveland Browns game going, black people! Ah! No, that's not going to happen. The Cleveland Browns have plenty of white players that suck too.
Yeah.
Okay? It's an equally sucky team, regardless of the color. That notwithstanding. These things, you're not going to go Walking Dead. They bashed some dude's head in with the ball bat. Because, the real guys out here are going to go, you ever seen Goodfellas? You ever seen Casino? Shut the... Go home with that.
You ever see Cactus Jack Mick Foley?
You ever seen Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk match? Shut up. Take your Sabu non-watching behind back home and start watching your Disney movies again because they're probably just about as gory and violent as that silly scene was that everybody made a big deal about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand which direction you're being swayed and who you're going to let sway you. I mean, you're going to be temporarily swayed by a TV show and a TV program. Good. By all means, take that blue pill for a little bit. We all have to do it. For Pete's sakes, man. If not, we're all climbing towers with a high-powered rifle. All hail Charles Whitman. But hey, if you are going to start taking that stuff seriously and taking it to another level, man, you need to fucking check yourself, dude. You got to really stop and put yourself into perspective. Do I want to be led around by the nose my whole life and just told what to do, what to think, what to breathe, what to eat? Or do I want to make a few of these decisions on my own? I mean, I'll take some of your advice under advisement, but I'd like to, decide whether or not I want to put, McGarbage in my gut. Or whether or not my kid is going to school to listen to some fat horse sit and talk about how, the Republicans are all bad. Bleep, 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 bleep. That has nothing to do with learning. That is not teaching anything but segregation and division. And, I should be able to have the ability, and let's throw that weird word out there, kids, the right to decide whether or not I want my kids to be taught in that manner. And if you're just going to instill nothing but these Marxist, progressivist ass clowns in schools that, just are pretty much be subservient to the state, you don't need any individual rights. And because if you have individual rights, that's racist. No. Individual rights means individual rights for everybody. Black, white, yellow, green, purple, polka dotted. I really don't care. Individual rights is rights for the individual. And each colored person, each person themselves is an individual. It's about the most non-racist ideology that you can have out there, ladies and gentlemen, is individualism. That's the beauty of it. That's why I don't understand why so many people continuously reject it. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you start to look at your television stations, you start to look at your mainstream radio stations, you look at your public schools, you look at your society as a whole, and what do? Keep pushing that narrative that you need big brother and big sister to come and take care of you.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking that
another
that's
thing
so
too
much
about
the.
Americans
I'm not
in
thinking
the
that that's so
society.
much the case anymore.
Yeah,
As it used to be.
Hollywood loves to put out these movies where they get you rooting for the underdog, whether it's like Hunger Games or whatever. They love to talk about the Boston Tea Party and being a rebel and fighting back against this. They love you when you're watching on TV, but when you go home and you conform and you go back to be a conformist and do as you're told. And then if you talk like we do sometimes, they're like, oh, how dare you go up against Big Brother and the government. It's like totally opposite. But they're the first to watch a movie and root on the underdog or root on the rebel, or
All right, I think we got our caller calling
rebel.
in here, buddy. I think we got our caller calling in. I'm going to add him up.
But they're the first ones to go home and basically, then if we talk like we do, they say, oh, you guys are crazy, whatever.
Hello, we got 225 there. Oh, 225. We got you here?
Yeah, this is Sam Houston.
Sam Houston, welcome to the show here tonight, man. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, my brother, hanging in there. Just came back from Roadhouse here in Sherman, Texas. Had a good meal, and I'm rip-roaring ready to go.
Heck yeah, man. Well, it's a great pleasure to have you here on the show, man. We're trying to get Spent Kent reconnected. He's looks like we ended up losing his call there for a second. But I'm really excited to have you on.
Technology, huh? Modern technology. Now, you know what worked real good when we was kids was 2 tin cans with a string running from one to the other. You could hear all clean across the yard that way.
That's for sure, man. We used to do that when I was a little kid, man, back out in the old tree house. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Anyway, so how's it going with you guys?
It's not doing too bad, man. It's not doing too bad. Look, I really want to get into some good questions, man. It's an honor to have you on the show. You were a part of one of the biggest parts of my life growing up, man, was professional wrestling back there in the 80s, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, wrestling's been a part of my life, my whole life, I was born into the business, so even though I'm 53 years old, I've got 53 years experience, not just, in the ring, but I'm talking the dressing room and running the office first, the whole 9 yards. My whole life has been in it. So, yeah, it's been an amazing ride.
Well, yeah, you wrestled with a lot of the greats, and a lot of people don't actually know a lot about your wrestling family. I was quite astounded here to learn exactly just how much of your family has been involved in the professional wrestling business, from your dad and of course your famous brother and sisters as well. You guys all kind of hit right in there in the 80s, man, and a lot of people don't know that.
Well, I'm good at what I do, so wrestling has always been a passion for me, man. I just don't get out there and try to stumble through moves and holds and stuff like that. I have a passion for it. I yearn for this business, man, and I get out there and I live it every time I get in there.
Well, man, that's one of the things I really wanted to ask about. You got to wrestle with all the legends, and in my opinion, I think somebody of your standing that has been involved in all these matches, including wrestling one of my favorites, Bulldog Bob Brown, from here in the Central States, where you were the champion. That I knew his brother-in-law was somebody that I knew. He owned a bar down in the west side of town that we used to go to as kids, and he'd let us play video games in there in the morning. And but you've got to wrestle with all these people, and be a part of these legendary type things, man. Can you tell the people out there what what that was, how that affected you when coming up through your career? With Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA to even wrestling with Ric Flair.
Well, I mean, it was all great, Please, don't take me for granted. I guess I was in there with a lot of legends, and it took a lot of legends that made me, Every time I got in the ring was a learning experience. But you also got to remember that every time I got in the ring, I gave it everything I had in me, too. I wasn't lackadaisical. I didn't sit down and try to settle for being second best, man. You got to reach for the stars. You got to live it. You got to dream it. You got to get out there and fight for it and do it. And I really appreciate the wrestling fans nowadays still seeing that drive and that desire in me. I mean, I don't know if you've been following around what's been going on the past couple of months, but I've been lighting them up from Las Vegas to Florida to Minnesota to Georgia to the Carolinas, everywhere I've been going lately. And anytime I get an opportunity to get in the ring, man, I'm giving it what I got, and I'm showing them I can still get it done. And I've done pretty good for myself. I'm the #1 contender for West Virginia weekend in the country on July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I get a legitimate world title shot for a nice big organization again. So a lot of big things are happening for me. But I lost everything I owned in the floods a few months back ago in Louisiana. I had my wrestling boots, y'all. I got on the road and I did what I do best, and I got back in the ring. And now the last 2 years in Las Vegas at the CAC's reunion and everything, I've been blowing them away. As far as my working ability, been blowing them away. Well, this time I got back on the road and showed them what I can do too. And I'm blowing people away from coast to coast now. And people are finally listening and they're taking heed. And they understand that when I walk into a dressing room, I walk in there as a consummate gentleman and an athlete. I take care of business first. And people are seeing that in me. And it's a great thing because for a lot of years, I wasn't dependable. I was a drunk for a long time. I'm not that way anymore. I've had almost 8 years sober. So I'm good.
Well, man, that's a great feeling, especially to put as many years into the business that you have, to be able to walk into a dressing room and have that type of respect, from your fellow coworkers, man, and everybody that's working with you.
And here's the part that really gets me: with some of these young guys don't know who I am, and I'm kind of like, wow, that's funny, Here they are supposed to be. They're supposed to be students of their craft. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, it's right.
Okay, they're supposed to be students of their craft. How can they ever understand their craft if they haven't done the research to know who any of these greats were that put on the boots and open the doors for them?
Glad to hear from you. We'll call you back if you leave a number.
Holy crap, what happened? Hey, wait, we got you. We're trying to get Spent Kent back in here, and apparently I just got his answer.
Okay.
So no big deal.
Well,
No,
y'all got one of them satellite little gimmicks or something like that.
I'm running this call line off of Skype right now.
I heard if you go to the northeast corner of the room, set the coat hanger out and hold it over your head with your left hand, you'll get to the reception.
But that might be something I need to try here. Spent Kent, do we have you?
Yeah, I mean, hey, please video it while you're doing it so everybody can see what's happening and see that you are following instructions. How's that feel?
I'm working right on that. You know what you said about the younger bucks that haven't been doing, are supposed to be, studying this craft and wanting to be a part of it, man, and them not knowing, who you are, not knowing about your epic battle with Danny Davis in 1987. Yes, people, I am that wrestling nerd.
Let's not exclude anybody. There was Crusher Cruise Ship. There was Bulldog Bob Brown. There was Warlord. There was Big Bubba Rogers, who was later Big Boss Man.
Mm-hmm.
There was Terry Taylor. There was Black Bart. Come on, I had a lot of feuds. A lot of people was after me a little bit. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson.
There were.
And the Horsemen. Come on. I mean, they beat me up in parking lots. Just anytime they got a chance to get a hankering on their hands on me, they wanted it.
Well, for a while there, you were, right there, one of the hottest names right there. Everybody wanted to fight you. You were undefeated up until, the whole Bam Bam Bigelow match there. But, with the fight just kept going on, and you had plenty of shots and plenty of carries of titles throughout this nation and several of the promotions, including Jim Crockett and everywhere else, man. And Jim Crockett Promotions, kids, if you're a wrestling fan, you know who that is. I mean, everybody does, and this is one of the guys out there, man, that were, fighting and being, and a lot of people, they refer to you as a jobber, but the way I'm seeing it, man, if it ain't for the jobbers, man, what are you watching for? I mean, just
30 seconds left to finish this recording.
Yeah.
Okay, what? I don't know what. Yep, we're right here.
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, the terminology and everything, it's insulting. I don't take it personally because I got to consider what, dim-witted person that doesn't really understand our business or has no understanding whatsoever about our business, and he's trying to be an armchair quarterback over there. Those kind of people, boy, on Sundays when that football player, he misses that one play, boy, they're all over it. And they can take, but I'm going to tell you something. Those guys ain't on the field. They're not put in that position. And there's a reason why they're not in that position.
Come on.
Until you've laced up the boots or you pulled a pair on and you want to get in the ring and you want to say something, then come on. I'll be the first one in there for you guys. I'll get in the ring with anybody get in there and just see if you can take with me for a few minutes.
Yeah, and that's what a big mix.
When I broke in the business way back when, back when I used to text with stone tablets and a hammer and a chisel. Back when I broke in, if you couldn't do 1,000 into the squats, you wasn't getting in the ring. Here's what happened to the wrestling industry. I'm just going to throw it out there real quick. Wrestling industry was going great, and everything. A few older guys, figured they could open them some schools. Well, they opened them some schools, and then they let some people do some payment plans. Well, some payment plans got, a guy come in and he trained 3 or 4 times. All of a sudden, his boots came in the mail, and he's a seasoned veteran backyard wrestler hitting each other in the head with light poles and crap like that, and gonna, hit somebody with a 2x4 wrapped up in barbed wire and everything else. And they're how many ladder matches can you see on one card? I saw 5 one night. Every match was a ladder match.
Yep.
Well, there's a work of psychology in that. No, you got a whole bunch of idiots out there with a pair of wrestling boots, and then you get a company that goes out there and starts selling wrestling rings to any John, Dick, and Harry or whatever that can get out there and afford one that's not built up to any quality specifications.
Mm-hmm.
They pay, it's ball ring. Okay, well, that's great. You try to put a professional in that thing. It's going to get, I bust those turnbuckles all the time, those little bitty aluminum 5/8 turnbuckles. That ain't quality stuff. And, and you ain't never going to get the education you need to get for this business, breaking into business that way.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of people doing that. And then this guy, because he took 3 classes or 3 lessons or whatever, then he breaks everybody. He tells everybody in his neighborhood they're going to set up the backyard wrestling thing and and jump off the houses and into swimming pools, and he's going to eat. This guy's going to eat dog food. And he's going to, come on. I'm not a carnival act. I'm a professional actor.
Well,
I give it the best I can, man.
Sam, you bring up a great point. You bring up a great point, though. In the mid-'90s, they went from that transition to where, you have that catch-as-catch-can style, to where it was a wrestling match. 2 guys were actually in there trying to put some moves on each other. And do something into the hardcore scene that ECW helped usher in, to where people are throwing frying pans into the wrestlers, and they're hitting each other with that. I mean, well, that's all good and great from time to time. Like you said, a whole card of ladder matches.
I don't want to be somebody hitting me in the head with a frying pan or a chair or something like that every night. Come on. Okay. You know what wrestling is? Wrestling is a physical contact sport between two people to out-wrestle each other and to pin their opponent down. It's not about to break their arms or break their legs. That stuff is supposed to escalate, and you get personal issues and this, that, and the other. And yeah, that sells tickets, but sheer competition sells tickets. You know what happens? You know why people pay to come to see wrestling matches? Because people will pay to watch other people do things that they physically cannot do themselves.
Word.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Let me ask one of you guys. If you could do a backflip, if you could do a standing backflip, would you go pay somebody, go buy a ticket to see other people do a backflip if you could already do one?
Nope.
I don't think you would. I wouldn't go watch another plumber put a toilet in on my day off if I was a plumber.
You know? Exactly. And that's the best part about wrestling. Go ahead, Ken.
This is Ken here. I was off for a while. I got disconnected. It's good to talk to you, man.
It's nice to talk to you, my brother.
Do you want to go by Michael or Sam? What should I call you?
Cool, man. Sam's cool. I mean, I just started. People started calling me Michael again like 8 years ago. So, but I've been Sam for a long time. Sam's easy.
Yeah, I roll with Sam, and you can call me Spent Kent or just Kent. A lot of time Lee will just call me Kent. People, just talking to me.
I'll call you late for dinner.
Can't call him that.
That was a gimme. It was a freebie. I had to.
Oh yeah. You got to do the ribs, right?
Yes.
Hey, I was going to say, that the storylines I thought were a lot better too back in the day when it was more fresh and compared to the storylines today. I remember the days when you were wrestling, with Dusty and Magnum and just better and just the Road Warriors are out there at times and all these others. The Four Horsemen was just started. Storylines were just so much.
Listen to me. Back then, it wasn't actually storylines. Y'all trying to put scripts and new twists and blah 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 on something that didn't have it back then. We didn't have storylines and scripts and this, that, and the other. We had issues. We had issues between different factions of talent. We had issues. It wasn't a scripted out story. It just flowed. It just flowed as it happened in the ring.
That's a bit better.
You sure you had a way that you were going with something. If you had an idea, or if the booker or whatever had an idea, okay, well, this is how he's carrying that idea. That's understandable. But that's not like what's going on today where you have 3 or 4 writers that write for your company, that they're making all the money, but you've got the athletes out there trying to perform and do William Shakespeare, and that ain't going to work. There's no reality to it. Give me something where you got 2 guys that go out there and give each other a shove and say, hey, let's go. Let's see what we can do.
Exactly.
You're going to 2 guys that go out there. They're going to tear that house down. They're going to give it their all, and they're going to give everybody in that Coliseum. They're going to give them what they paid for. They're going to give them action. What? Okay, let me ask you this. When you turn on the television now, doesn't it tick anybody else off as a person? It's always about the same, about 16, 18 minutes. Always talking.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they start coming out in the middle of the ring, and they set up the whole show for the Monday Night Raw or SmackDown right then and there in the first, 10, 15, whatever, 16 minutes, you're just saying. They set up the whole show from there, and it's so predictable.
I just go ahead and announce my main event when it first starts off. Have a kick-ass match in there. I already know my main event is. I don't got to waste all that time talking and everything. But I guess that saves their wrestlers from having to perform the job that they get paid to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to see action. That's what every wrestling fan tunes in for, is for action. You know, the
Exactly.
stories and stuff like, oh, who's kissing who, and I mean, come on, the thing with Rusev and that guy, what's his name, the blonde-headed fella, with Cass.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, that goofy little kid.
he got
Yeah.
beat up in the hotel. He got beat up in the hotel the other day. How many different camera angles were there in that hotel?
You know, well, they started doing that, you know, in the early '90s when WWE would have like.
Yeah. When Undertaker did that whole thing and kidnapped Teddy Long, there was
Yep.
11 different camera shots.
Oh yeah, there were at least 3 different camera shots when Stone Cold broke into Brian Pillman's house. You know.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, isn't that telling somebody something? Oh, do you really think I'm not going to see that 6'2" cameraman standing right there with that thing on his shoulder or in my face? Oh, he could be just standing there, but I don't see him. Come on.
Yeah, what?
I mean, I liked about your day better, back in the older days. It wasn't so storyline like you were just talking about. It was, you had your bookers, but it was just more real. It just was just like the interviews, the old WA wrestling.
You didn't ring with old and tell him he ain't real. Come on. Yeah, there you have it.
You know what I'm saying? Well, that's the difference. Back in the day, the competition really sold it a lot more than the hype. I mean, you had your Hogans and your Savages, and
I'm not trying to go out and just do for me. I'm trying to go out there and get that match, make that match the best thing on the card. When I do that, who gets over? The other guy gets over. I get over, and the match gets over. All 3 get over beautifully instead of one guy out for himself and this guy doing this and this, and nothing happens. And then you're sitting there after about 7-minute mark, after the 1, 2, 3, you're going, well, what purpose did that serve?
Mm-hmm. And what
do that? Getting over a lot over in WWE right now. I think Jericho does a lot of that with the younger guys. Trying to get them over, and get them some reputation and name and what.
Teach them to work too. I mean, when I broke in, here's the deal, guys. When I broke in down in Florida, I was on the road every night. I was riding with Mike Rotunda, Mike Davis, Hector Guerrero, all these guys down there, Dusty, Blackjack, Barry Windham, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and then when I got to the Carolinas for the first 8 months, I starved in the Carolinas. And then Dusty came to work. And when Dusty came to work in the Carolinas, my bookings went up. And then the amazing thing with the Horsemen and all that stuff happened with me. And when that happened, that just skyrocketed me straight to the top. I was working every night. But let me tell you, I was on the road every night with guys like Johnny Weaver, Sonny Fargo, Rufus R. Jones, Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, Wahoo McDaniel, Dick Slater. I was riding in the car with these guys, and I was working every night. So every night you're in the ring, when you get out of the ring, you've got one of these guys, and he's critiquing you, and he's telling you, any mistakes. Well, you're in the ring the very next night. It's not like you have to wait a whole week or 2 before you get in the ring again to apply what you've learned to your craft.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, we had the opportunity, we had the privilege, and we had promoters that knew what they were doing. You can't be a one-town promoter anymore. You've got to have some sort of circuit built up or planned up so you keep your talent working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, how credible is it to go see, big, let's just make up a name, Big Nasty Killer Man over here, and he's Kevin over at Jiffy Lube.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, here's $2, how important is that? Does that make you see the difference between a wrestler then and a wrestler now?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's all he did. He was a wrestler. That's what his job was. This guy here, he wrestles, but he works at, this guy manages a tanning salon, or this guy does, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It hasn't been, been able for, well, at least financially in this country, for people to be able to follow that dream.
It's not the wrestlers' fault at all. You know, those guys are trying, and you know, hey, I give them some respect. I give them some props for trying. I wish that, you know, learn, you know, try harder, you know, because, you know, you got to have that desire. You've got to have that urge. You've got to have that something in you that wants to go that one step further, like I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Ellering told me a long time ago. He said, Sam, he goes, the reason I love watching your matches is you go that one step further, you know, out in the ring. Okay, you know, when I got my neck injured in 91, then came back in 93. I mean, I was partially paralyzed, guys, and I came back from, got back in the ring again, and then with the Japan 5 times, the whole 9 years. But when I got back from getting hurt, I rested on my laurels some. I did not push myself to my full potential, and I feel like I did just enough. I did good enough, which was still blowing everybody else away if you know what type of worker I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, if you'll at least give me that shred of the dignity of saying, "Damn, Sam, you were the cream of the crop."
Dude, you did,
you know?
you brought the energy there, man. Everybody felt it in the arenas to the TVs, man. Everybody felt your energy. Even as a young kid, when Spen brought this up to me, it was like, hey, let's get this guy on the shows. I know who that guy is. I remember. Yes, please. I loved watching your matches. I really did.
Where did you come watch that?
Well, where did I come watch? I didn't get to actually see you live at all. I got to see you on television on Wrestling Superstars, #1. I got to see you there. I also got to see you at the second Survivor Series. You know, I do remember that. Yeah, I remember a lot of these things.
What time, like if you were like out of Philadelphia or where? Cause I had some hellacious battles with Black Bart. We're not allowed to wrestle in Maryland or Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, either one. Because we lived that time in Maryland too.
That's another thing you don't see coming out of today's wrestlers is you guys used to get banned from places. They would not let you come back and wrestle in places, man. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, me and Black Bart, we wrestled in Baltimore, and we were in the semifinal. It was a Texas death match. 2 weeks later, we're back in Baltimore. I don't know if it was an error on the booking part or whatever, but it was a loaded card, stock card. Everybody was anybody. Road Warriors, Flair, the whole 9 yards. Everybody was on that card. Me and Bart were in a return match on the second match on the card. You know, well, I'm thinking how you follow a Texas death match. But brother, I went out there and followed it the best way I could. The State Athletic Commission tried to stop. They physically jumped in between me and Bart and tried to separate us. We beat up each other and the whole State Athletic Commission. They weren't stopping us. Nobody was stopping us, and they didn't. And now we're not allowed. But the people were completely spent. I've had people 30-something years later come up and tell me they were there at that event that night. The people were just so spent. They didn't even halfway. They finally halfway popped into the Road Warriors when Flair came out. But they were so emotionally spent for Black Bart and myself. You know, it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, those
I
are
can imagine too. You know, I would just being live and seeing something like that in that type of match. You know, and history. You know,
you're on your feet. I mean, Eddie Gilbert and myself, whenever we get in the ring, after the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, the people were on their feet. You know, and what a talent. Kurt Hennig, the same thing. Wow. You know, and people say, who's the greatest guy you ever worked with? Well, I can't tell you because I've been in there with all of them. You know, and all of them are different. You know, and I've had amazing and phenomenal matches with each and every one. Barry Darsow come up to me at the CACs and he said to me, he said, Sam, all the greatest matches in my career were with you. What a feather put in somebody's hat, man. Kurt Hennig wrote that his 3 top matches in his career was Bret Hart, number 1, Nick Bockwinkel, number 2, and Sam Houston, number 3.
That's
Oh, that
awesome.
is amazing. That's amazing.
Black Bart said on his shoot interview with RF Videos, they asked him who the best wrestler he ever got in the ring with was, and he tells us Sam Houston. And Bart's been in there with all of them, Zach.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, Bart, I remember Bart back in the day. You mentioned Eddie Gilbert and Mr. Perfect there, Kurt Hennig. It's sad that we've lost so many wrestlers in these years now that used to be here. They're no longer here.
It's part of the mind frame. Look, man, let's not sugarcoat it. It's part of the mind frame and everything else that's out there. We're in a rock and roll lifestyle with Learjet riding, limousine, the whole 9 yards. Riding across the sky on the edge of a lightning bolt. We're supermen. We believe that our publicity gets us that pumped up to believe that we're the Superman, and that can't anything hurt us. So what do we fall victim to? We fall victim to things that help us ease the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Ease the pain from being on the ease the physical pain, whatever it takes. If it takes a couple of hits off a joint, a couple of pills, a couple of drinks, whatever it takes. And then then hey, 6 pills wasn't good tonight. I need 7. Or oh man, I'm working on my 2nd fifth now. Or it's just different things. Oh, I can. It's what it is we're never satisfied with what we have. We have to get just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I got smartened up to that in one of the rehabs I was in. They had to wait in line to get coffee and then wait in line to get sugar. They had a little bitty coffee cup, and I saw this guy in front of me put 6 whopping teaspoons of sugar in his little bitty coffee cup. And he took just that little edge of the spoon, and he just got just that little bit more, just that little edge. Now, out of the 6 whopping teaspoons, and then he's just going to take the spoon and get just a little bitty sliver of an edge. Because the six whopping ones did not satisfy him. He needed a little bit more. Same reason why people put the envelope and they go so far one day, and then the next day they got to push it just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And that's how addiction is.
It truly
and that's
is.
what happened to a lot of the guys in our business. I hate this shit. And I'm so sorry that we've lost so many of them. Because I got to tell you, a lot of them guys I love to death. I love them as my brothers, I mean, we were soldiers together, kind of.
Yeah, the pain pills and the alcohol did a lot of the guys in. You get on those pain pills, and then you want to go drink, and you kill the pain some more, that little bit more, like you were just saying. And those pain pills, they don't mix with alcohol. And yeah. And so that's what happened to a lot of them. Perfect.
I never really got into the pills, and I did them some, and I did the cocaine some, and I did this some, and that some, but that wasn't what I liked to do. My addiction was alcohol. I smoked weed, and I drank. I drank entirely, extremely high amounts. I mean,
I know exactly how that is.
2009, I was drinking anywhere from 1 to 3 fifths a day, every day, just about.
Yep, I know exactly how that is.
Just getting that little out of hand there. Yeah.
3 fifths a day. Come on, but I was crushed inside. Just a lot of things happened to me in my career. My wife leaving, getting injured, being partially paralyzed. All these things hurt me. My wife didn't want me to see my children when I was a drunk. I thank God for her for that. She saved me from embarrassment. But here's the part I couldn't wrap my mind around, guys. Here was the thing that was causing my pain, right, was also calming my pain.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see them well. I can have a couple of drinks. So what was feeding one desire was crippling another.
Exactly.
And I couldn't open my eyes. But that's exactly
pain pills, man, and drink like that, you wouldn't be here today. You'd be with the other guys. You know, they got to take those pain pills, and then they wanted to drink on them, and they said, "Oh, I can do it," and that was it. Superman. They were not Superman. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I'm just thankful I didn't get off of things like that.
I can identify with it totally. I mean, I've had a very, very, very bad drinking problem a majority of my life. And, it's led to a lot of bad things in my life. I am that 3/5 a day guy. I can totally do it, have done it for years. It's gotten to the point in my life, though, to where that's starting to become more of a hindrance than it is just something, that's easing my rheumatoid arthritis and everything else that I don't want to take pills for, because I just don't want to take pills, man.
So, way, man.
It can eat you alive, kids. It really can. I watched my father die from alcoholism. I'm watching my mother die from it. I'm drinking a beer right now. It's something that I keep trying to fight through and keep trying to get it out of my life. And you have no idea just how hard, kids, if you've not delved down that road, man, you have no idea just how hard it is to kick that monkey off your back. You know what I'm saying?
Let me stop you real quick. I understand how very hard it is.
Well, I know you do.
I thoroughly understand. Let me just tell you a little bitty story real quick. It's just real quick, and this would help me. I'd gone to that rehab in South Florida with Vince Sinister. Ran into Scott Hall down there. I had forgotten in 2009. I had already forgotten that in 1980, 4 or 5, that I trained Scott Hall in Ivy. I completely forgot about I trained Scott Hall for this business.
Right on. You trained Scott Hall. Cool.
Yeah, I forgot about it too, because there's too many dead soldiers behind me. So anyway, we're in the rehab. When I got out of the rehab, I went to help do an event for this little boy that had this disease. He needed stem cell treatments. So I teamed up, I buddied up, I piggybacked with a promoter down in Louisiana. Well, the night of the event, they changed the building owner and the promoter got together and hijacked my show, basically. I had a written contract for 25% of the proceeds. In that month time, which the wrestling event was one of them, we did help raise $35,000 to send the boy to China to get the stem cell treatments. We were shooting for 50. We raised 35. I was happy with that. Anyway, they tried to have me arrested that night when I walked in. They had 14 T-shirt security guys jump on me. Well, the scuffle went on for a few minutes. It took them a little bit of time to get me out of the building. They put the handcuffs on me. When they put the handcuffs on me, that's when the deputies stepped in and said, "Oh, no." They were trying to have me arrested for trespassing when my name and face was on 500 posters around that town everywhere. My picture was on every ticket sold. The newspaper, the radio, everybody said I was going to be there, and they're trying to hijack my show. So they tell me I need to find a lawyer to take care of this. Well, I don't know how to do all that kind of stuff. What do? I had a little relapse for a few days, and then it was down to beer after that. But I called the one of the counselors, and he told me I needed to start journaling. So I went, I made a notebook, and I wrote down in the notebook, I said, "If you're reading this, I'm already gone. My name was Micheal Smith. I'm dying of the chronic disease of addiction. There's no pill, no cure, no chance. They say there is hope, though, and that one is God. They also say, may you find him down." Now, I wrote that down. I read it over a couple of times, and I was like, man, that's good. So my girlfriend came in. She read that. She thought it was a suicide note. Got me in all kinds of trouble. Now I've got to head to the halfway house. Well, this, that, and the other happens. Well, anyway, we have a big fight, big argument. I had a drink, and then I was on my way back to the halfway house, and I got pulled over for an improper lane change. They smelled the alcohol. They tased me, the whole 9 yards, took me in. But because I'm a professional wrestler, they put me on Murderer's Row. Well, I bond out of jail. When I bond out of jail, because I'm a wrestler, I'm with the worst of the worst. I
bond out of jail, checked myself into a 2-year-long rehab. All right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in there. When I go to court, I call the court. They tell me that I have to appear and pay an improper lane change. I said, what about the DWI charge? They said there was no probable cause to charge me with the DWI. So I thought I was going to pay a ticket. I get there, they hit me with 4th offense DWI and threw the improper lane change out. I tell the DA I've never had a 3rd offense DWI.
Jeez.
And he said, if I have to redo the paperwork, he goes, I'm going to hit you with the Habitual Offender Act, and you'll go down for the rest of your life. He goes, you sign off on a 4th offense DWI, we'll give you 10 years, you'll serve half of it. If you fight it in court, we're going to give you 30 flat. And they tell me this on a Thursday. Now I'm on Murderer's Row. With 39, like, I'm talking, you know, my cellie shot his neighbor 3 times, poured a gallon of gas on him and lit him on fire where the guy lived. So, you know, these are people that are going down, down hard. Well, anyway, and they come in there. Mr. Matthews comes up, the old black man comes up, and he goes, I killed 3 white women. What'd you do? I said, improper lane change. You know how tough that made me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, that happened on a Thursday where they remanded me there. By Saturday night with these people, I was going nuts. I didn't want to live my life this way. You know, if I was going to spend the rest of my life no, I couldn't do it. So that Saturday night, I took my sheet, and I slit it up, and I braided it together. I made 2 nooses. I wrapped the nooses through the bars, put them both around my neck. I said, God, only you can stop this, and I jumped. Both nooses broke. They did not tear. They did not rip. They broke. I promised God that night I'd never try to hurt myself again. 4 days later, my mom died of alcoholism. Her liver shut down. That's the day I dropped to my knees, and I promised God, my mom, and myself that I wouldn't drink again. And it's been about 7.5 years ago, and that's something I'm not going to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, I wasn't broken from the chains of addiction right away or anything like that. But what has happened is I have done as much studying as I can do. I have realized that drinking is a choice. It does not. Before, if there was a bottle of liquor there, I had to drink it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I realize I'm smart enough to realize it's a choice I make, and I choose not to. I really kind of like the guy I am now. See, now all that time, from when I got back into wrestling after I'd been hurt till all the and stuff and everything, you know, I did just enough to get by. I rested on my laurels. Now, just enough to get by. Yeah, that was still blowing everybody else over the top. I'm still that good. But I didn't drive. I didn't push myself. And I felt like I changed the fans. I didn't find myself in prison. So I was in prison. Did I find the desire to push that one step further, to go that extra mile? And I found that in there. And it's something that I grasp dearly now. I hold on to, and I will not be second best if I can prevent it. I'm going to give everything I've got to everything I've got, because that's what my Creator expects of me. He gave me these talents. He gave me these gifts to push with, and He wants to see me use them. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. When I was working offshore and work release out of prison, I'd be out there on the edge of a platform, standing on a 2-inch bar, building a structure so other people could get back out there and work with 20-mile-an-hour winds. You know, scaffold builders were like bait, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's sharks underneath you. There's all kind of stuff, you know, going on. Everywhere you turn, something can kill you. But I always got the job done, and I always gave it my best shot. I've got a really good reputation.
Well, you know, that's an admiring quality that a lot of people just don't have nowadays, man. And maybe it's just that we're older and we're from the older school to where.
No, here's what it is. Here's what it is. Because they can lay around, and because somebody else does a good job, they can make that same $11 now because we're going to pay across the board.
Yeah,
we all know the truth.
Exactly.
We all know the truth. You know, they're going to put everybody on a scale. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Say you took everybody that can hang sheetrock and you paid everybody $15. This guy here, he might do it a little bit slower, but he does 5 times better than work with the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still going to pay him? No, come on. We got to figure something out. But no, go ahead and pay the man what he's worth.
Exactly.
You know? And if you have somebody else that does that same job and they're not worth what you're paying that other fellow, don't pay him the same thing. Let him have something that he wants to strive for. Give him a goal, you know.
Exactly.
Give him be goal orientated. You know, push yourself. Look, man, my creator wants me to push and do my damnedest and do my best. You know? Yeah. You know, he wants me all dressed up. He wants me, you know, when I'm in worship, he wants me to praise him with everything that I got in my body. He wants me to scream out to the world and let everybody know who I serve. And I don't have a problem doing it.
No, that's
I've drawn a line in the dirt. I've drawn a line in the dirt. I've stepped across that line. I said, here's where I'm going to fight. And I'll be damned if you're going to knock me past it. I used to say this when I was a young kid.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that wall, just jump on my back. I'll take you through it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what makes you a man. If you're not key to the whole, for all you beard-wearing little sissies out there, this is what makes you a man, is being able to stand up and say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And I don't care if you don't like it or not. Go right ahead.
I ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. I've had world titles. I've got a Legends Award. I got certificates of completion. I've got college credits from the American Bible Academy. But I'm going to tell you something. All those are accomplishments. These are things I've done. These are things that I have conquered. Okay, but even though they're titles, trophies, this, that, plaques, certificates, or whatever, they are nothing. They don't mean anything. None of that stuff defines the man I am in my heart.
That's the beautiful thing about it. Man, I'm falling in love with you. I really am. That's so awesome. I have so much respect. I have so much respect just like oozing out right now. It's hard to contain here on radio, ladies and gentlemen. It really is.
Well, I kind of appreciate that, I think. I mean, I really do. I want to tell y'all, too, the Twitter account. Okay, this last year I helped out. I got on Facebook and this disabled vet guy. Hold on, I got to take my coat off. It's kind of hot here. Anyway, Jamie Morris, disabled veteran, he got hit by one of them IUDs or whatever. He got hit by
roadside bomb.
Yeah. So anyway, he asked for a couple autographed pictures, you know, and it really was. Anyway, I was kind of headed that way a little bit. Anyway, he was kind of out of the way and stuff. But anyway, instead of, when I tried mailing him a couple of times, and I didn't put enough postage on it. And then when I thought I mailed it again, then I saw I didn't mail it. And I was in Montgomery, Alabama. I just figured, well, I'll just drive to his place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I showed up at his place the next morning at 5. My GPS thing was telling me I was there, and I wasn't there. It was still half a mile down the road. So I didn't know how to figure that part out. I was in the middle of nowhere. You are here. No, I'm not.
GPS don't know shit.
I leave, and I finally get a hold of him, and he calls me back. I left him a message. He calls me back, and he was so heartbroken that he missed me. So I made arrangements to come back and stop back through. On my way back through, I drove out of the way again, and then I went up and I got some autographed picture of my ex-wife, baby doll, and brought those to him too. And I fellowshiped with him for a while and everything. Well, then he helped me set up this deal with his church. It was called Extreme Teen. We led 21 young souls to Christ that day, you know, to the church, to my testimony. And I thought it was a wonderful thing. And, you know, and it was. Well, anyway, he decided he was going to help me with the social media stuff. So he put out a couple of things. And after the floods in South Louisiana, man, I had my wrestling boots, so I pulled them on, you know. And I've been lighting up crowds from, like I said, Minnesota to Vegas to Georgia to southern Georgia to North Carolina, all over, everywhere in between, anywhere I can get a chance. getting out there and getting it done. And people are turning their heads and they're taking notice. Well, this Nelson Entertainment, the Florida Legends of Wrestling, have extended opportunities to me, and you know what? I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take everything I can and push it to the limit. I'll never be second best. I'm gonna give it everything I got. I don't care who gets in the ring with me. I don't care what kind of skills you got. I'm gonna give it my best, and if I have to, I'll go D-dorm on your ass. Hey, dude, I can handle it that way too. Now, you know.
Oh man. You're becoming
Right
my favorite wrestler. You really are.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I want to, encourage me. Well, anyway, my point is, Danny Morris, he helped me with the social media. So he's got me a YouTube channel up. He's got a Twitter account. I've got Micheal Sam Houston, which is my personal Facebook page. Then we have Sam Houston Fan Nation, which is an open group. And then there's also Sam Houston, the athlete page. I do so many things as far as speaking at substance abuse centers, giving my testimony of churches, and doing television shows. That I'm not trying to think people, not let people think I'm doing a whole lot, because I am doing a whole lot. I'm reaching a whole lot of different areas, but I'm trying to make it easier for each area. But I'm also trying to make it like a one-stop shopping thing too, where you just punch my name in, and then all of a sudden it takes you to all my stuff. We just got done now. So if you go to Sam Houston Fan Nation or Sam Houston Athlete, you'll be able to find the link, and it takes you to our new. It's a Wix website. That's a temporary one. It'll be up just for a little while, and then another one. I don't know how computer stuff works unless I have a ball peen here.
Oh, it's greasy. It's totally greasy.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure where we met on Facebook, but there's a lot of those guys that are called role players out there that are pretending to be like Roman Reigns or The Rock or whatever. And I had a few of those, but I knew you were the real deal. I got a Thunderbolt Patterson. I don't know if he's a mutual, but also the late great Blackjack Mulligan had him too. Never messaged him, but yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of time though. You got to be careful with the wrestlers they do it with celebrities too, but wrestlers on Facebook. There's a whole I don't know if you know this, but there's a whole role-playing crowd, a group out there that does role-playing. They pretend to be Ric Flair or The Rock or Roman Reigns.
Rocky Horror Show when they all want to be Jim Curry or something.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. It really is.
Yeah, I got a friend. I think he'd fit in that category. I mean, I want to get him a bathrobe from Target or something. And have somebody just sew on some feather boa or something to it,
Yeah.
I know he'd wear it. I know he'd wear it in the sports bar, especially if you told him that it was somebody famous.
Well, let me get that.
That are like friendly Roman Reigns and everything, and I'm like, I hate to inform you guys, that's not the real Roman Reigns.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will have.
They're out there. Jericho had a couple.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the old school guys like yourself.
I don't think you're gonna find too many of me. Nobody wants to play my role. I don't think anybody could.
Well,
there might be one out there. I haven't checked, but there might be a role player doing that. But yeah, they usually do like the Impossible, The Rock, or you're not talking to The Rock on Facebook. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, well, The Rock didn't face Crusher Khrushchev. The Rock didn't face Black Bart.
Exactly.
The Rock didn't fucking face Bam Bam Bigelow. The Rock didn't face Danny Davis. The Rock. The Rock's biggest asset was his trash talking. Okay. As far as a wrestler, man, he was, pretty much a three-move guy, as much as Cena is, to be quite honest. Yeah, you're looking back, when we're looking back at guys like, we've been talking, wait a minute.
You got to give Dwayne this. When he turned it on, he was exciting.
Yeah, he was very exciting. He was one of my favorites to watch. Just even though in the ring, you kind of knew what he was going to do. You kind of
yeah. His skills might not have been 100%, but it was a package. Exactly right.
Just the smack talking, and he knew what he was going to do.
Well, then let me ask you, Sam. Let me ask you this. Did the trash talking really ruin wrestling, or was it just like a necessary evil?
Who ruin wrestling?
Did the trash talk? Hang on, Kent. Did the trash talking really ruin wrestling, or was it a necessary evil?
I don't think it did. I mean, everybody likes to hear talking. Yeah, I don't think it ruined. I think what might have like, if you want to say ruined. I mean, and I'm not really trying to put any single person down, but it's when the people smartened up to where everybody had a catchphrase. And the catchphrase, it wasn't as simple like, clean one-line, Clint Eastwood one-liners no more. Now it's just everybody's got their catchphrase that they've got to get in on their interviews, and that's when the people pop when they hear the catchphrase.
Yeah,
they don't hear it unless you mention the town or you hit them with your catchphrase. Used to like people would listen to what you had to say first.
Oh, they did. They actually wanted to hear what you had to say, and would react to it, emotionally.
Yeah,
and that was the big pop about professional wrestling is when they could do that.
And here's what promoters do all the time, and it sickens me. I mean, they take, oh gosh, what's the best way to say this? They basically believe that they can program their people, and they, any way they want to. They believe their mental capacity is limited, as to that they can make you believe anything they want you to believe. And you know what? A lot of times it's the truth.
It is. I was saying that earlier about the 80s. I mean, they really did that in the 80s very well. In the 90s with social media, they kind of know how it's gone. They kind of know what's going on, but it is very easy. I think Lee and I were talking about this in the first hour, how easy it is to manipulate people with just basically a narrative that you push on them. And, the good guy, bad guy, they could make you hate this guy and then turn babyface, and all of a sudden he's everybody's favorite. Yeah, they did that with Hogan. They put the heel at first and made him a babyface, and then bam, what happened there? So.
But then, like, you turn around and look, okay, now, Rusev, when he first got here, and I'm not picking on nobody, but when he first got over here, he's from Russia, right?
Mm-hmm.
For, I don't know,
Czechoslovakia, but...
Yeah, now he's from Bulgaria.
Yeah.
But before,
Bulgaria, my bad, yeah.
Yeah, but before, for 2-3 years, he was from Russia.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, well, now you just, move the fence? What?
Just kind of packed up, moved over here.
I mean, I'm not trying to, push, but you ever notice how they just keep pushing a bad thing and a bad thing and a bad thing until they finally twist it around and finally turn it around and make it something?
Yeah, but
after 2 years of having something shoved down your throat, then you finally believe in it and you want to do something with it, and all of a sudden you ain't going to be on the chopping block too long.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they crap in your face like they did with that whole Mark Henry and Mae Young thing and giving birth to a hand. Good Lord, that was horrible.
And he was like, yeah, come on, he had that accent. Now you see Kofi Kingston, with the New Day and all that.
Yeah, especially since he's from South Africa. That really just makes it, hilarious to me. But
yeah, originally it was Jamaica. Yeah, man, But I'm wondering if that Rusev's girl there is his so-called wife. I haven't looked into the whole Lana thing, but I'm thinking she's faking an accent. I know Maurice is faking her French accent. The Miz's wife.
Yeah,
I back there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Basically, I sit back there and chuckle a a lot of times. You know? I'm wondering, like, okay, if I was running it, okay, how could I make this guy jump through? Like, oh, I got it. Then we'll go up to him and we say, hey, we've got a position on our roster here for the Red Rooster. Oh, I'm not going to be the Red Rooster. Oh, you're not, Terry Taylor? I'm sorry. We don't have room for Terry Taylor on our roster. And you've already worked 10 days. You've already worked 10 days for the WWF. We've fulfilled our end of the contract. If you want to sit at home for the next year and a half and not draw a dime and be under contract with our company, that's fine with us. Or we have an open position on the roster here for the Red Rooster. What's your choice?
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I remember when that happened. I was watching. And yeah,
I was there in Battle Creek, Michigan. Sam, we gotta go to Rite Aid. I gotta get some red dye.
Holy cow! Dude, I'm sorry, but I thought that the Red Rooster was one of the worst gimmicks that they ever came across.
No, come on. No, what a real. Okay. You got to remember what movie just came out. Dragnet, Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Pagan Party. Remember the Pagan Party?
Yeah.
Gotten up there, and he was trying to be helpful with giving people constructive criticism and stuff like that, like he would do in the territories. But you don't do that in the WWF. You know, because everybody else is the top of their field. You do not tell Andre the Giant and Randy Macho Man Savage how to have their match. I think it's not going to go very well.
No, I don't think I don't think anybody tells Andre the Giant anything. That's just
you know what I mean. But these mistakes were made. Ribs were pulled, and this and that and the other. So then this. What can we do? Come on, this is the office. What can we do to have some fun? But when you get somebody that's a good enough worker that can go out there, and even though you give him something that may not be, what that guy should, what his dreams are or something like that, you try to make it, but he becomes that good of a worker. Remember Gold Dust whenever they brought him in?
Mm-hmm.
It had the falling out dad from WCW. They bring him in, and now he's a homosexual for his whole persona.
Yeah, whatever he is.
But Dustin Rhodes was such a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal worker that he turned that whole thing around and he made it work. And he made it work for him. He made a lot of money with it. He made he caught a lot of attention. He got a fantastic fan base with it. And he got the props. He got the respect he deserved from the office. So
I'm proud of him. Yeah, I agree, man. That's 100% correct. I've been watching it.
Do you understand? They went and they were going to make a clown. They were going to make a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But he was such a good worker. The same thing with Terry Taylor. They were going to make a joke. But these guys were incredible. They took that joke. They took it, and they ran with that ball.
Ran with it.
And,
and they made it win.
They went that one step further to make you believe. I
mean, Terry Taylor didn't do it so much as Dustin Runnels did, as far as the I mean, there isn't a wrestling fan out there who doesn't know who Goldust is, and you like him. You have to. I mean, it's not like no, he's just a shitty little, trying to play homo and all this other garbage, and like Billy Gunn and whatever Palumbo did in the 90s,
Yeah, I remember that.
But Goldust brought that creepy vibe that's like, he might just touch me in places I don't want him to. That type of thing. But you know what? He's going to go out there and he performs in every match. That's something that you can't take away from Dustin, is that he performed in every match, and that's a long forgotten type of trot. I mean, look at your and let's throw these names out there. Your Roman Reigns or your Seth Rollins, which is kind of a good kid, but I mean, he's still kind of a one-trick pony.
I think Seth has got a lot of talent. I think Seth Rollins has a lot of talent. Roman Reigns does too, but you obviously going to get what you get with Roman Reigns. His type of persona, the way he's going to play it, and the WWE does it. But Seth Rollins, man, that's somebody. That kid is the future.
No, I'd be interested to get Sam's view on. You know what? I'm just going to throw it out there, bud. Who do you see in the big time promotions there? You know, your WWE, or I don't even know if TNE is still around. I think somebody might have shot their horse, but you know, who is the future of professional wrestling according to Sam Houston?
Oh, well, gosh. I mean, you got a lot of guys out there. I'm just now with this weekend in the West Virginia weekend in the country, and everything that's getting ready to help happen with Nelson Entertainment and what the things that I'm going to be a part of. And, guys, I'm really telling you, you better keep your eye on me because I'm about to rock the world again.
I hope so.
But we're going to get oh, definitely. It's going to happen. I've been approached. I've been offered something that is the answer to my dreams, and a lot of it depends on my desires and how far I'm willing to take this. I talked to them. They said we're either going to do it upright 100% of the way, or we're going out in the boots of glory. Well, that's all I live about, man. I live about living that blaze of glory. I live about against the wind. You know, I am that guy that takes it to the limit one more time. I'm not, I'm not gonna let this go by lightly. I'm gonna give everything I've got. I've got a whole lot of guys I'm looking at. You know, I've had the opportunity to be in the ring with Cahagas. Wow, the Tokyo Monster with the NWA. He was the North American champion for a while. I'm gonna tell you something. What an athlete. You know, I've been in the ring with, these guys all over the place, these different guys. They won't let me get in the ring and work out with none of Vince's guys or nothing like that because I don't know how to paperwork. Well, look, I ain't worried about paperwork. Just let me get in there. You know, but really? Sure. You know, this is supposed to be a sport for men, not for girls. You know.
Say word.
Come on, look, I was good enough to work for your company for 5 years or 4.5 years, blah 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 blah. You know, I worked everywhere for you. You know, and if you don't want to give me any respect or this that or that, it doesn't matter to me. You know, I ain't about y'all no more. I'm about where I stand in my life, and where I stand in my life is pushing to the fullest extent I can. I think this weekend in West Virginia, the West Virginia weekend in the country, bringing on, we've got Monroe, Louisiana, Branson, Missouri, or Las Vegas, Nevada. These are also dates for Florida legends in wrestling coming up. We'll be setting all the dates. We'll be setting all the dates in early January. So it's just a couple more weeks, and you're going to be hearing some big things with this, guys.
Yeah, let me know. I'm down in Florida. I'm down in somewhere on the beach, so I definitely want to see what's going on down there.
I'm going to have 10 contracts to open, offer to open free agent wrestlers. But I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to get one of these contracts I'm going to be offering if you're not going to be able to get in the ring and you're not going to be able to go with it. You know, you're going to be in shape. And I'm not going to be the politically correct guy, and I'm not going to sugarcoat things. You know, if you can do it, you can do it. If you can't do it, then I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm not going to get a guy that has no
ambition,
no chance of making a living in this profession. I'm not going to take a guy like that and fill his head full of stuff. If you can do it, if you can't do it, then let's be honest. Tell him he can't do it. Do him the biggest favor of his life, and tell him to go back to Burger King and flip burgers, or tell him to maybe go look in the computer field, or maybe get into construction, because this is not his game. You know, you got to find that person.
Somebody for you. I want you to check out. I got somebody for you. My boy Joey. I'll PM you about that at another time. But that sounds that's what you got to do. You don't want to get people's heads. You know, just you got to be honest with people. You know.
Well, you know, you're
I'm not going to say, okay, here's what you're doing. Here's what's going on right now, guys. Guys are going, oh, you're going to be the next Stone Cold. You know, and you got this guy that you know, come on. He's not an athlete. He's not a wrestler. He's not, you know.
He just happened to be 275 pounds because of the, what he ate at the buffet. But he's got a black shirt with a skull on it, so and he can put a little face paint on, and he's gonna go out to the ring to black and black, or black his back or something,
Well, and they've been trying to capture that persona again.
Those 22 people that came to the event and everything, they're going to see him. Well, this guy's got no chance at making a living in our business. Do him the favor and say, hey, look for something else.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be don't try to bilk him out of his last $150 or $300 or whatever you're charging to train him for the day. I mean, we've let up as far as wrestlers protecting our profession. The guys now, they're doing a lousy job of it. Just like, we'll break anybody in. Come on. If you couldn't go, you didn't get a chance. If you couldn't do 1,000 squats, you didn't get in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
If you got stretched, you got whooped up. Now everything's so split. Oh, well, this 186-pound guy is going to break. Okay, because he can do backflips. Okay, well, don't you realize because he can do the backflips and they look pretty, but that's not really a wrestling move, and it doesn't hurt doing it either.
It sure ain't. This comes from a guy. You know about the backlund test, don't you?
Let me go ahead and flip over this rope here like this, and then I'll land on my head on the floor because I haven't been properly shown how to take any kind of bumps or any kind of falls.
Mm-hmm.
So let me. There's a timekeeper table. I went through it, and the bell hit me in the, ruptured my spleen, but I'm okay. Yeah, right. Okay. Well, you don't know you don't know the first thing about your craft. Please take those wrestling boots off, give those trunks away, give everything away, and go do something else.
Well, I got to bring when you talk about that, Sam, I got to bring up the 800-pound gorilla in the room. What are your thoughts on Mick Foley? Most famous hardcore wrestler ever.
Yeah, I mean, I wrestled one of his first matches. I'm in his first book. He calls me a real chick magnet, and blah, 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 blah. And, talked about going in, and I said something about watching Elbow, and I don't know what happened, but anyway, he got bulldogged right quick. And I guess a lot of respect for me. That's what he, But Nick and I wrestled against each other a few times after that. We always turned in. We've always had great matches, and I always enjoyed Nick and everything. And then after I got hurt, when I came back to WCW, and they were offering me a contract in the mid-'90s. And then with the politics the way it was and everything else, I got disgusted and I left and went back to L.A.
Oh, I know those politics. I bet I know what you're talking about, the clique, huh?
No, it wasn't the clique. Nothing with the board.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the opposite.
I know Sean kind of running the show there towards the late night, during the whole, WCW Monday Night Wars, WWE, or at the time WWF Monday Night Wars. The clique was kind of running the show. You had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash over there in the NWO, and then you had Hunter and Shawn Michaels doing the DX thing, and, they were kind of just like, and Shawn was like kind of control. They all went up and talked to Vince and told Vince what they wanted, and they got it. And a lot of people were disgusted. I like the clique, so I'm not going to say anything. So,
DX will be, we've got DX facing NWO with the West Virginia weekend in the country. I'm not sure.
Who you got in there? You got Pac, or what's going on? Walton? Is he in there? Or what?
Going to be there. I believe the names I got were Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, ex-Pac, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle's on the card, Ryback's on the card. We've got
holy cow! Where can I get tickets?
Big Con and Road Dogg from DX. We've got let's see, Hogan is supposed. I've heard Hogan was going to be. I know Flair and Sting. We've got country acts. It'll be Justin Bates, Mickey Gilley, Johnny Lee, REO Speedwagon, 38 Special. It's going to be a big 3 days on July 21st, 22nd, 23rd called West West Virginia weekend in the country. Go to it on Facebook. I'm wrestling Greg the Hammer Valentine for the Legends World title. Wow.
Oh, and you got to win. You got to win. I hate Greg Valentine. I've always hated him since I was a kid.
When you were a little kid, but yeah, he's so good at what he does.
Absolute professional.
I'm looking forward. I've been helping out this group. It's American Outlaw Dave Nelson, Action Smash at Demolition, Mr. Anderson, who was Mr. Kennedy, but he's Mr. Anderson now. Greg Valentine. And Greg Valentine, the name of their organization or their group is Zero Tolerance. And with the new girl that's in training right now, and I kind of was giving her some pointers and stuff like that. America Strong. This girl is phenomenal, guys. She needs work on her in-ring techniques, and that's what I'm trying to help her with now. And I'm doing this because, first, I love the business with all my heart. Second, I see tremendous potential in this person, and I do think she can make it. Third is because of my love for this business and because I want to try to help this girl make it and everything. I don't have anything personal or nothing like that. I'm just a friend there trying to help. And that's what I'm all about anyway. You know, if you go to the new web page, it says there about, you know, like the guy told me, he said, well, tell me about what you are. And I was like, well, what am I about? Well, you know, I'm about talking to God, and I'm about professing my faith about Jesus Christ. I'm about standing up for the American flag. I'm about veterans. I'm about children. I'm about standing up and taking, you know, making a stand and fighting for what you believe in. You know, and when I was going over to that, I was like, what do you think? And I said, is that what I'm about? And they're like, yeah, that's exactly what you're about.
Yeah.
And I was just basically describing myself. But dudes, I got so much stuff I can tell y'all. You need to go to my YouTube channel. I want y'all to. Here's something I'd like y'all to do. Last year I did a television show called Victory Road with Lee Benson. It aired worldwide on Uplift TV last April. Anyway, on those websites, on those channels, you can find the 25-minute. I was one of only a few hand people that have been on her show twice. I was on her show before the Northridge earthquake hit Los Angeles back in the early 90s, and then I was on some 22 years later. And I just got to, you know, just take a look at the story and I mean, it's in there. There's a story about when I was in New Guinea and the cannibals almost ate me. You know, true story. They were carrying me over their heads out of the sporting complex building or whatever, and the Australian Army had to be called out with rubber bullets and clubs and dogs to get them away, get me back in. And they were carrying me back, and the major tells me, he goes, mate, there was a big black pot in your future. They were going to cook me, eat me. You know, they were going to have Sam Houston, the other white meat. And that was my spirit with this dude, the spirit of a warrior. Yeah.
Wow.
True story, guys. No, but a lot of great things are getting ready to happen for me. And, I want everybody to come along on this ride. You know, I don't like to leave nobody behind, and I don't want to let nobody down. And if you want to have a blast, well, come with me, because I'm not going to be second best. Hector Guerrero told me when I first started in the business, the guys started trying to pull ribs on me. I was already a good ribber. You know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sam,
really quick, know what ribbing is, real quick for the listeners. Ribbing is pulling pranks, jokes, whatnot. Go ahead.
And I'm a master at it. People bow before me and call me king. I'm just being real. That happens. But he told me never be second best, and I'm not going to be second best. And right now, I've lived my life, all 53 years of it, on the road and in this business. up and down the highways my whole entire life. It's been one show after another. There've been lags and times and stuff where I wasn't able to get in there and perform because of prison or because of this, that, or the other. Well, now I'm focusing fully on what I do and what I do well. And that is getting the ring. And I'm going to take you on a ride you ain't going to believe. And right now, the biggest thing in my path is I got a legitimate title shot at the Legends World title. Okay?
That's so awesome.
I didn't get a whole lot of, I earned a whole lot of breaks in the different organizations that I've been to, and I got denied them because of political reasons. Marrying baby doll. Sure, yeah, the NWA or WCW wants me gone now.
Mm-hmm.
I defied the office. Come on.
Yeah,
Let's
wasn't
be real.
she Dusty Rhodes' manager before that? Was it Tully Blanchard?
She was Tully's, and Dusty won her for the 30 days, and then we fell in love during the 30 days. But our plans didn't fit in with the office plans, so they basically canned us. Well, they did two things. They hurt both our careers.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're not going to excel past what the office wants us to.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of shoved back and kept down and kicked down. Well, now I've got the opportunity to get out there in front of everybody, show them what I can do, get out there in the ring, take that title. All these Hall of Fames and this, that, and the other. And the one in Texas, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. I even went to Texas, and on the way, the Red River levee had broke. I stopped, helped rescue 11 people out of their houses and stuff, then made the drive over there and helped them get that building ready to open the Hall of Fame on time. I did the walls, I mudded them, I sheetrocked them, fixed blah, this, blah. And I can't even, they did hang some of my things in the museum, and that was really cool. But I can't get I don't even get the, the acknowledgement or anything of what I do for this business, or what I did, like the CAC, what I do, or hey, check this out, man. When I went to go see my brother getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, I had to buy 2 tickets for $170 a piece to watch my own brother get inducted into the Hall of Fame when I worked for that same company for 4.5 years. Wow, isn't that cool?
Holy.
You've been presenting. What the hell's going on over there with them? I mean, come on. You should have been able to present the Hall of Fame. You're talking about Jake, right?
Yeah. Who cares though? That ain't my. That's not my.
So they charge you money. Is that Vince doing this, or is it his cronies, or what?
Oh no, it was the office. Okay, Jake's got 8 children. Okay, let's understand. Yeah, Jake's got 8 kids. That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, but still. I'm also not only his brother, but I was also an employee of the company for all those years. So you surely can't afford me, the chance and the opportunity to sit with my comrades, my brothers down there in the seats, and there was plenty of free seats, plenty of empty seats down there. But I can't,
I don't even think you needed a seat. I think you should have been right up there with him. You know what I'm saying? Right there on stage.
That's okay. I'm over that. No, and I understand it. It's not my brother's doing it. That was the office. I know how the office feels about people. Everybody's expendable. Okay, so if you squeak too loud, you may be on that next ride out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease, man.
That's the way it is in life sometimes, right?
That's the way it is everywhere, man. It truly is. You have to. It's that bitter pill that life likes to give you. Regardless of how good you do, there's always going to be some jackass that sits there and goes, "Well, if you did that good, it wouldn't justify my job. So now I have to complain about you."
Well, I don't know, like, who's the elite crowd, too. You're going to be part of this elite crowd or not, or And, hey, George Carlin said about us Americans to
the oligarchy here. You know, it's like, hey, it's a big club, and we ain't in it.
Well, you know, that's the thing, kids, man. Whether you're in wrestling or anywhere else, man, it's if you're doing really good, and there's somebody in a position to where they, you know, if I can criticize you, that will make my job better. They're gonna do
That's
it.
what they think. But I'll tell you something. Here's how it is with me, guys. Okay, everybody can walk their walk and talk their talk. Well, my walk and my talk are a little bit different. I'm going to let my actions speak for what I do. Yeah, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna fellowship. I'm gonna share the word. I'm gonna be a cool guy. I want to be, you know, if you want to talk, I want to talk. You know, I'm here to help. You know, but when I get in the ring, then I'm gonna let my actions speak louder than my words ever will. Because then all those people that refuse to acknowledge me or this, that, or the other won't have any other choice but to go, damn, he's good.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting in there with the Hammer Valentine, right? That's what's coming up in next July.
Yeah, I've been told I'll be wrestling Tatanka. I'll be wrestling Mr. Anderson. I'll be wrestling, I guess, the whole gambit of their stars, whoever they want. But the big show that I know that is already pretty much set, in the campgrounds, the West Virginia weekend in the country in Romney, West Virginia. It'll be 3 days, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. With plenty of music acts, wrestling, and all kinds of stuff.
How could you ask for more?
Isn't he up in the 60s by now? Isn't he about 60?
I don't know. I remember
Greg Valentine, as much as I don't like him, is ageless. He's still the Hammer.
Greg broke in when he was like 15 or 16 when Johnny sent him down to Louisiana and he started wrestling for Mid-South Wrestling back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about 14 or 15. So we're close. I don't think he might be a couple of years older than me, but we're kind of close to the same age, if I remember correct. It's just a few years difference. No, that's because he started wrestling. When he was 15 or 16 years old. That's why people think he's much older. Nah.
I think you got 7 years on me, and I remember like being 13, 14, watching you, and you was like just breaking in like maybe 20 or something when you were on TV at least on WCW, the Saturday Night Show back in or it was actually World Championship Wrestling NWA back with Dusty and Magnum and all. That was like 83, 84. I was like 13, 14. So I assume you were probably about 20 then. And I thought Greg Valentine was already like close to 30 or maybe like in his early 30s at the most. But
well, you know, he's got that face that looks like he's been beating it for 30 years. You know, Greg Valentine's got that. You know,
he started so early, but I always thought Greg was older.
Well, Greg's got that face like, you know, look, I look like I've been beaten for 30 years. So that kind of what carried Valentine's toughness to me back in the day. Yeah, he carried everything with Brutus when I was a kid. Sorry, it was Valentine and Brutus. It was Valentine.
Greg carries it well.
Yes.
Here.
As much as I didn't like the Greg Valentine character, just because he was the bad guy. Sorry, he was good.
Yeah.
I will not ever take that away from him. He was one of the greats.
With the Piper and Valentine had that match with I guess it was a chain match or something going on where he lost part of his ear.
Yeah, I wasn't there that night. I think that happened before I got to the Carolinas.
Okay. Because that was like, I'm thinking Craig was 82 or 83, and I knew, when did you bust into the business? Around that time, right?
I busted in 83, September of 83. So, yeah, okay. That was the year before, I think.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, because I just, like I said, I thought he was much older than you. Well, I have a feeling you're going to get that title, though.
No, I'm going for it, bro. I'm going. They may love me when I get out and hate me when they may love me when I go in and hate me when I go out. It's not about that anymore. It's about right now. It's about a personal goal, a personal victory, is something personally that I can take for myself and then look at the world and say, yeah, I did this. I got what I deserve. I've been in this business, giving it everything I got for 53 years, inside and out of the ring. I've been putting the rings up, putting the chairs up, tearing it down, whatever it took, for the show and everything else. I did it all. And then now if I can do this, I'm going to take what's mine.
That's so awesome.
Work ethic. Oh, let me ask you one more question here. I don't know how long you've got, but in my memory it says no, but have you ever been a heel?
Yes, twice.
Twice you were a heel.
Yeah, I was Robert Fuller's tag team partner in the Carolinas for about 3 months, but the people didn't get with it. They still love me. That poke a guy in the eyes. Going nuts. Kick a guy in the knee. Oh yeah, I love you, Sam. And then in Texas, I was a hitman for Greg. Greg had the North American title, so my job was to make sure that the guys he wrestled weren't either 100% or they didn't finish the match. And I did that for a few months, but that just wasn't me. I don't know if any of these guys
on TV, like televised, or can I find it on YouTube? Because I definitely got to see you as a heel.
Yeah, that was. I don't. It was Atlantic Coast or something, Mid-Atlantic, some sort of Mid-Atlantic. But it was Robert Fuller there, and then the other one would have been Jimmy Crockett when Jimmy Crockett was running the NWA out of the Dallas office.
Okay.
But then at that time, then I did wrestle Greg I did get a shot for the North American title in Jackson, Mississippi. I don't know. I had to beat. The next thing I know, I got hit with the belt. And then the next thing I know is I'm in the dressing room and I'm putting 11 stitches in my head and everything. And I just don't remember. So
at least you didn't lose your ear like Piper, man. Don't lose your ear in this match, man. Greg was, he got him.
I'm coming for Greg. I'm going to see what he got, And I look forward to it. It's like when you get in the ring with a Wahoo McDaniels or Greg the Hammer Valentine or Ric Flair or Ole Anderson. One of them tough. You know he's double tough.
You got, man. Ole was tough as you got. I remember watching
when you get in the ring, when you get in the ring with that hoss, with that son of a gun right there, that when you get out, that you will have tried and pushed and tested every muscle, every joint, every bone in your body. You're going to give it everything you got. And that's what brings it out in you to find out if you're a champion or not. Yeah. And I choose to give it all I got, man. I just hope Greg can keep up.
I'm a real fan at this point. I've seen your videos. You're 53 now, you say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're still ready to rock. I think you've got.
Yeah, you hardly show it. I'll tell you that.
Somebody told me the other day, man. They said, "Damn, man, you ain't missed a step."
Well, shoot, man, I really want everybody to be a part of this.
I was like, I can still go and do my thing. It's just like the age is, age definitely time catches up with you, but you get over 40 and that shit starts.
I'm 40 and I have rheumatoid arthritis, boys. I just get to live my dreams vicariously through you. So, thank you.
I was in prison. I was getting ready to have a bad deal with this 26-year-old guy. Pretty good. Had military training and knew he was a wrestler the whole 9 yards. Well, he popped off at me. Well, I'm going to tell you, the spirit was still there, And right up, I answered the call. I was like, yeah, I ain't not moving. I ain't going nowhere. Well, so I think it was going to happen that night. It didn't go down that night. So it gave me all that night to think. And I'm thinking of this guy's stats and everything else and everything I know about him. And I had to get okay with, man, I can't beat this guy in a straight-up one-on-one like this, a fair fight, or there is no fair fight. And I had to get okay that night with either taking his eye, crushing his knee, breaking his wrist, breaking his elbow, whatever I had to do, because I'm not going down, because if you go down in the joint, there's no guarantees you're getting back up.
Word.
Yeah.
So nothing happened the next day. And then finally, the following day, I saw him in the hall, and I walked up and I said, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you for a second." I said, "If this is going to happen," I said, "I'm just going to tell you now." I said, "I don't think I can take you straight up like that." I said, "So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take your eye, I'm going to crush your knee." And he went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and he called me OG. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, OG." And he said, he goes, "Mr. Lee was in Waterproof, Louisiana." He said, "He told me about you." He said, "We ain't got no problems." I went into Waterproof, Louisiana in a maximum security disciplinary camp, and I had a bad altercation that I had to take care of, and I took care of it that night. And when I did, I went in against 3 guys. I got my hands on 2 of them. Before the guards come in, we all peeled off. And I thought I was going down because I was going against the drug dealers, the guys that bring the drugs and the cigarettes in the prison. And when I went in and went after them, the whole dorm started popping because they were popping for me. And I didn't realize it. Boy, it felt like I was in a ring. Every time I was throwing a shot, bones were rattling. I was hurting ancestors every time I hit. And that was a big change in my life. Well, Mr. Lee just happened to be one of the trustees there at that place, and he told this young guy about me, and this young guy decided he'd change his mind. But I had to get right with him. But before I got right with him, I had to get right with myself. Once I got right with myself and what I was going to have to go do to this person, then I had to go get right with him and let him know what I was coming to do. And then give him the opportunity to figure out if he wanted to pursue this or let it go. I'm really glad he decided to let it go because I would have had to hurt that man. Everything that I do in life now, I have a destination to get to. I'm going to get there, and it doesn't matter who I have to go through to get there. I'm going to get there. And that's the most important thing everybody needs to remember. I will get there.
Sam, hang on, Kent, man.
All right, guys.
Back in
I'm gonna have to go, but I sure would look forward to talking with y'all again sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Sam Houston, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Push for that shit because, Lord, this man has done more for the business than anybody that I've ever talked to or even been a part of, man. Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate it.
Check this out. One real quick. I'm the last human being ever to stand in the original Sportatorium ring in Dallas, Texas, in the Sportatorium. The ring that was built into the ground and everything.
Yeah.
I was the last human being in that original ring, the ring that Elvis sang in, and the ring that, that was part of that jamboree thing. But I know I was the last person in there because I'm the son of a gun that tore it down.
Hell yeah.
That before. That's awesome. Yeah. I knew that. That's awesome.
Sam, real quick. Hey,
thank you so much.
Hey, man, pimp your stuff there in West Virginia, man. People need to come and see this.
Yes, they do. West Virginia Weekend in the Country. Go on Facebook, look it up, man. You're going to see all the music acts, all the wrestlers, everything that's going to be there. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be amazing, man. It's going to be like Fan Fest, like the biggest concerts, the greatest wrestling show. It's going to be everything rolled up into one. You're going to have concert, everything but the circus, y'all. And if you call it professional wrestling the circus, well, you got that too. But it's going to be the greatest show on earth.
Oh, it sounds like a great time.
I'll go ahead and say one step further. Everybody knows WrestleMania is probably the biggest wrestling event of the year. I'm going to say this is West Virginia Weekend in the Country with the talent and everything else. First of all, it's going to be an event unlike WrestleMania, but as far as wrestling is concerned, I believe it's going to be every bit as much on that caliber as that show is going to be.
Believe me, I'm more interested in that than WrestleMania. I might have to make my way up there for sure.
Let me know.
Yeah, I know. We'll definitely keep in touch. It was awesome. I'm so glad you came on the show. Great Christmas show with you, man, and it was just awesome to talk to you, man.
All right, thanks, guys. Y'all take care. I love you. And hey, say a prayer tonight. Get with God. If you ain't been talking to him in a while, might not be a bad time to reconnect. We're going through some troubling times, and when we get near to the end, when it does come that day, I really hope you say you got a friend. I don't know about you guys, but I'd like to see y'all in heaven. So get right with God. I know I'm going to be there.
Well, man, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm ready to roll, doing the right thing. I'm one of the good guys, so for sure. Thank you so much again, and definitely we'll keep in touch. I'll send you a message. I was going to tell you about that wrestler I was talking about earlier, so I'll PM you about that sometime soon. So thank you so much, Sam. Lee,
Yeah.
You got anything to say?
Yeah, big time thanks to Sam Houston. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a complete honor on my half. I really don't care if you liked it or not, but this has been one of the best shows I've ever been a part of, and I've been doing this for quite some time now. I've been a part of 7-day-a-week shows for about 5 years now. So this ranks right up there. Sam,
part of it, guys. I'm glad I could be part of it.
Hey, man,
Thank you so much.
You've given so much inspiration. I get to actually shop this show around, dude. I this is a show that I can actually go, look, I did something good in my life. So
There you go.
I appreciate it.
Not into politics too much, except a little bit there the wrestling politics too. But it applies. Maybe next time we get Sam on, we can dwell a little, dive into more some politics and stuff. What's going on? And
we might do that. I have forsaken all of our ads and everything else for the last 2 hours, so I do have to get into that and all that stuff. Sam, I know you got to go, man. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, man. You have no idea what this means to me. This is like a feather in the cap for me, dude. It really is.
Awesome. Right on. Thank you, Sam.
All right, guys. We
got to take a break, right?
Yep, we're going to hit this break. We will be back here on the Friday Night Super Show, babies. You know it.
this lustful flight. Creeping through the night. Oh, that good old fine upstanding Mr. Right. He sets up little cabins 'cause he likes to watch her shower. He likes to watch her shower, such a pretty little flower. He sets up little cabins 'cause he likes to watch her shower. He likes to watch her shower, to watch her shower. He's trembling with glee. He sets up little cameras 'cause he likes to watch him pee. What a dirty little bastard he can be. Creeping through the night. He's coming through the night to ease his lustful flight. He's creeping through the night. Oh, there's something going wrong with Mr. Right. He's creeping through the night. He's creeping through the night. He's his lustful flight. He's creeping through the night. Oh, that good old fine upstanding Mr. Right. Government control, ladies and gentlemen, that is today's word. Let me break it down
Pure shatter. I got my CBDs. Don't let them curse the sacred flower. You gotta take back your power. I traveled astrally indeed. Puffin' on this stuff some people callin' weed. Power to the people, fuck the stuff you heard. Get it straight now, they ain't fucking with my herbs. I see hit piece after hit piece, and they're eating it up like it's delectable. Man, it's a shit feast. The magnitude of malevolence is exceptional. The fact they think it's edible is utterly incredible. I find it indigestible. This reprehensible spectacle is a festival of ignorance, unethical. Poisoning you under the cover of protecting you from birth. For what it's worth, they're bent on injecting you with a plethora of carcinogenic chemicals while looking down their nose at you, telling you that it's medical. These days, it pays to be skeptical about every single thing that comes out their receptacle. They love to shoot formaldehyde into your baby, then come lock you up just for selling fresh organic vegetables. This shit is way beyond belief. They've demonized another leaf, and it is unacceptable. I traveled astrally indeed. That's what it makes you do. Puffin' on this stuff some people callin' weed. To let you know it's true. Power to the people. Fuck the stuff you heard. All that shit is fake. Get it straight now. They ain't fucking with my herbs. I'm talking to all the snakes. It makes me so sad to see these poor people falling for the okie doke. They think that it's a jokey joke until they yelling holy smoke. What they've been calling a weed's the sure answer. Cannabis does indeed cure cancer. They've legalized it, but I gotta let you know. Beware of Harry Anslinger 2.0. Another type of prohibition's happening real slow. Gradually, only corporations will be allowed to grow. That means people like Monsanto. And once it's genetically modified, how will you know? And if they stick some labels on it, will you be a believer? Is your kosher cushion indica? Is your super skunker sativa? They don't care about some people smoking marijuana. They want cannabis concentrates, persona non grata. These jokers take over your weed, it guarantees your sadness. It'll really do that shit you saw on Reefer Madness. Astrally indeed, that's what it makes you do. Puffin' on this stuff some people callin' weed. To let you know it's true. Power to the people, fuck the stuff you heard. All that shit is fake. Get it straight now, they ain't fucking with my herbs. That's when they make a big mistake. Populace intoxicated. Populace intoxicated. Populace intoxicated like never before. Populace intoxicated. Populace intoxicated. Populace intoxicated like never before.
Besta Pizza is now joining forces with Comet Ping Pong Pizza. Might as well announce it. We're already joined together by the underground defunct subway tunnels. We just know you'll enjoy our new special pizza, the Besta Comet Express. Cheese made fresh daily, using nothing but the freshest breast milk available at the time. Not to mention some other special secret ingredients. Ooh, we're not telling. Hey kids, enter the Besta Comet Pizza Party Place Challenge, and you can play ping pong with President Obama. Be sure to try our new Podesta Brothers calzone with a walnut sauce to die for. Besta Comet Pizza. It's the place where families eat. Located at 666 South Podesta Drive, Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah, babies, we are right back here in the final half hour of the Friday Night Super Show. I am the mouth laughing and scratching, joined by crazy-ass Spent Kent, joining me again. You know, my brother from another mother, man, always right here, joining in and chiming in with the Friday Night Super Show. We just had one of the greatest interviews that the Friday Night Super Show has ever had with, Micheal Samuel Smith, a.k.a. Sam Houston, pro wrestler. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get much better than this. I'm sitting back here, Kent, you gotta forgive me, man. I'm sitting back here just feeling like king of the world. I feel like Alex Jones with 1 million hits on YouTube. I feel like Adam Kokesh if he had a penis. Yeah, it's the things, the small little things, man. And to me, I don't care if anybody else likes it or not. I had Sam Houston on the radio tonight on my show. That's fucking awesome to me.
Awesome.
It really was.
Epic,
This
man.
radio go, and the interview itself went actually quite outstanding, man. I mean, even when he got into his God and Bible stuff, which I don't agree with entirely, but it gave a little bit of inspiration out there. It really did. I felt the inspiration.
Inspiration was there, though, regardless if you believe it. If I can say this real quickly, regardless if you believe in whatever you believe in, if the inspiration's still there, the power's still there, the message is still there. I mean, he was spot on. I mean, it was a great, great, great interview.
It really was. It really was. It was one of the best times, man. And that's why I think let's just go ahead and we played our ads. We played a few. We're going to play a couple more songs before we kick out of here. But I think let's just leave this episode of the Friday Night Super Show as it was. Just golden, pony boy. Golden, man. Spent Ken, you got some final thoughts, brother? Because, number one, I really want to thank you for being a part of the show, being my special co-host tonight, man. It means the world to me. You have no idea.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you so much for having me. I just, brainstormed that idea last week and made it happen. And so, we had Sam Houston. And there's more to come. There's more to come. I'm going to be bringing some more people anytime you want me to co-host and come up with some crazy-ass Spent Ken ideas, man. This was a good one. Tonight, and it's great, perfect for a Christmas show. We did the politics early on, Sam, you kind of see where he stands, and what kind of great man he really is, and a great interview. Just a good Christmas show. Everybody should be leaving the show with happiness right now, ready to just be happy. Again, my final thoughts.
I'm going to ruin that for everybody.
Educate yourselves. Always keep searching for the truth. I say this, I'm blue in the face. And also, I'm hoping now, since I ran out of my Black Friday stock, I'm hoping Santa brings me a brand new, in my stocking. I hope Santa brings me Sunday morning when I get up and look at my stocking. I want to see a brand new, super expensive, the best in the business penis pump you could ever find for his truly Spent Ken.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you are out there and you can buy a $30 shop vac, send it to Spent Ken because he needs something there.
I love them too, no problem.
Hey, it works all the same, and shop vacs you don't have to take out to dinner or talk to, so you got that going for you.
Mine just broke. I need a new one. So anyway,
ladies and gentlemen, it's been an outstanding Friday Night Super Show, as it always is. It really is. This is what we do here on the Last Voice for Liberty Network. Chiming in with Spent Ken. Really miss you, Dennis. Wish you wouldn't being such a dick, but, go ahead. You go ahead and do that and have fun with that and be successful with it. I am the mouth for Spent Ken.
We keep going anyways, right? Lead him out. Keeps going no matter what. He is
the
Friday Night Super Show. So, Dennis, we love you back, man. But Spent Ken's always around anytime you need him. I'm always there for the show no matter what. Go ahead, Lee.
Brother.
Goodbye to everybody.
I know, dude, I love you so much. I'd almost give you the titties that are being shown to me right now. Oh, fuck. I might get shot for that one. Boys. Sometimes you gotta say these things. You never know. And the shirt gets put on afterwards.
How about that? That's not like a hidden secret. That's not nothing you need to go research.
This is how much I love all of you listeners out there. I'm going to ruin my entire night just for the rest of you guys. For all of you kids out there, for Spent Ken, for Sam Houston, everybody that's joined us tonight, all of our listeners, we love you to death. Merry Christmas. I'm totally being ostracizing it right now. I'm the mouth, kids, and we out.
Christmas is a time to have your friends and family near. Smoking dope, eating turkey and drinking beer. It's not about who bought who, what or how much money you spend. Or wrestling over toys at the crazy fucking mall, get punched in the gut, so I say, dear Santa Claus, go fuck yourself. 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 Doodly-doo-doo-dee-doo. Dear Santa Claus, go fuck yourself. Dear Santa Claus, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, Santa.
Back into the past and know your future's here. Oh, let it go. You got to just remember, baby, then you'll know. You got to just surrender. Rah, rah, rah. When all is said and done, we're not the first to be here. There's nothing new underneath the sun. See the resistance there behind your eyes, but you know my persistence is so hard to find. Oh, let it go. You got to just remember, baby, then you'll know. You got to just surrender. Rah, rah, rah. When all is said and done, we're not the first to be here. There's nothing new underneath the sun. Rah, rah. To be here, there's nothing new underneath the sun. Hey!
There's nothing new underneath the sun. Rah, rah, rah.